The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Cantor Bush, can you hear me?
I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Good evening. I would like to call the June 3rd, 2025 City Council meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. The public is encouraged to join the meeting online or by phone at the numbers printed on the agenda, which can be found on the city's website at www.diamondbarkca.gov or in person. Main Auditorium, South Coast Air Quality Management District, We have also allowed the public comments to be submitted in advance to the city clerk. If any were received, they will be noted for the record when we get to the public comments period. This meeting is being recorded, and by participating, you are giving your permission to be televised. This meeting will be rebroadcast every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. and alternate Tuesday at 8 p.m. and archived for viewing on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov. Now we're going to proceed with the Pledge of the Allegiance, invocation, and the roll call. Please stand for the Pledge of the Allegiance led by Councilmember Andrew Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. Please stand with the right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And please remain standing for the invocation by Cantor Paul Bush of the Temple Beth Israel.
Thank you, Mayor Tang, Mayor Pro Tem Tai, members of the council, city staff, fellow citizens. I am honored to be able to offer this prayer for our country. Sovereign of the universe, mercifully receive our prayer for our land and its government. Let your blessing pour out on this land and on all officials of this country who are occupied in good faith with the public needs. Instruct them from your teachings. Enable them to understand your principles of justice so that peace and tranquility, happiness and freedom might never turn away from our land. Please, wise one, God of the life breath of all flesh, waken your spirit within all inhabitants of our land and plant among the peoples of different nationalities and faiths who dwell here love and brotherhood, peace and friendship. Uproot from their hearts all hatred and enmity, all jealousy and vying for supremacy. Fulfill the yearning of all people of our country to speak proudly in its honor. Fulfill their desire to see it become a light to all nations. Therefore, may it be your will that our land should be a blessing to all inhabitants of the globe. Cause to dwell among all peoples friendship and freedom, and soon fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no longer the ways of war. And we say together, Amen.
Please be seated. City Clerk Santana, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
I'm here.
Councilmember Liu is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
I'm here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Here.
Mayor Tang?
Here. Now, next is approval of agenda. City Manager Fox, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda this evening.
The agenda is hereby approved. Next is the City Manager's report and recommendation. City Manager Fox, are there any reports?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'd like to invite Assistant Fire Chief William Gamble up to talk about the upcoming control burn in Tonner Canyon later this week.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, and city staff. I'm here to talk about our prescribed burn in Tonner Canyon that's going to be occurring on June 5th and 6th, this Thursday and Friday, weather permitting. The goal is to reduce the risk of wildfire impact on Diamond Bar, improve the local ecosystem health, and provide for increased public safety. Our project area, as you will know, Tonner Canyon is 5,700 acre plot of land, undeveloped land that extends from the Diamond Bar to Brea, crossing through the Chino Hills. It does have a significant fire history, and this plan has been in place and been worked on since 2009 in the aftermath of the 2008 freeway complex fires that wiped out 314 homes in the area. This is the first phase, stage 1 of the plan, and we're targeting 18 acres each day for a total of 36 acres to be a prescription burn. It's going to be northwest of the Tonner Canyon Motorway, beneath the Diamond Ridge Estates and the Country Estates. Prep work has been going on for over a month and a half, and the land where we're going to be operating is actually owned by the City of Industry. But I do want to thank them for their cooperation and partnership in helping to protect the city of Diamond Bar. They've been great partners. We've also been working with CAL FIRE as well as our host, the South Coast AQMD, and we've been in communication with our LASD partners as well. This is a broader initiative, is a 350-acre vegetation management program that we're implementing starting now. It's been going on since May, and it's projected to last 1.5 to 2 years. It's part of the statewide fuel reduction environmental protection plan and is aligned with Governor Newsom's executive order N2525 for very high fire hazard severity zones. Our foresters have been in the area and they've marked off and identified ecological protection areas. So we're going to be very mindful of those and working around those so we're not hampering the local residents of the wildlife type. And we're really working to work on the environment, improve the environment, in addition to our residents being major beneficiaries of this Ancient Futures effort. And Ancient Futures is the idea of taking ancient techniques that the native tribes of the area used fire, as we all know, and combining it with modern science to ensure that we are creating a more fire resilient community. Our burn operations are going to be starting at 8:30. Ignition times are weather dependent, and after that, we will, so sometime after 9:30 is when we anticipate the first fire to be ignited. The prescribed burns involve hand ignition, pile burning, and some broadcast burning. There will be a small test burn conducted prior to the rest of the burn being started to ensure safety before the full operation, and we have plenty of resources in place assigned, and all of our neighbors are partnering fire agencies that would respond in the event of a major brush fire. They are all aware of what's going on. We also will be, our operations are going to be completed by approximately 4 p.m. each day, and we will be flying a drone to detect any heat pockets of hidden fire that could be remaining in the area. So we will have full extinguishment each day. Community impact, the residents in Diamond Bar, Brea, Yorba Linda, and Chino may notice smoke, and residents on Indian Creek and Shady Ridge will have fire engines on the ends of their street they're going to be pumping the protection lines down to the fire, and the fire crews will be ensuring that there's no threat to their homes. Final notes, it's been a well-coordinated multi-agency effort and really focused on public safety and environmental stewardship, and I think it's a good opportunity for our residents to remember to practice the Ready, Set, Go principles and the actions that are outlined in that program in preparation for a wildfire. We want to ensure that they have the opportunity to harden their homes to protect against wildfire and help us protect them in the event that there is a fire, and also be prepared with an evacuation plan for them, for their families. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for report. Do you have a few minutes for the questions?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to start with Council Member Chow.
Thank you, Captain. I want to thank staff because I've seen some posts about the prescribed burn. As you can imagine, people are pretty jumpy about fires and smokes, if they weren't aware of what's happening. So thank you for coming here to speak to us. So you did mention that on Tuesday, you say Indian Creek and Shadow Edge, is that what you said?
Shady Ridge.
Shady Ridge. So those two streets will see fire engine activity on the street.
Yeah, and there will be fire engines below, in the canyon below as well.
Have we
That's where the-
notified or flyered that particular neighborhood to make sure the neighbors know? Have we done that? Or any signage on the street?
Not on the street, no, sir. Not to my knowledge.
Can we make sure yeah, I don't want them calling 911 that day seeing fire trucks, so.
Yeah,
if we can,
the city has not provided any direct noticing other than our social media posts.
Maybe one more specific for the street so they know. Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Lowe?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. My question is, you mentioned a bunch of partners that are assisting or notified of this exercise. What, if anything, do you have partnerships with the utility companies like Edison and Gas?
We do have partnerships with them, but usually those are for events where if they were going to be if the event was going to be impacting potential gas lines or high tension lines.
Is that,
Or-
do you expect that to be
No.
an issue? Not where you're working this time?
No,
Okay,
not
thank you.
this time.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Assistant Chief Gamble, I heard you talk about other entities involved in this. Does that include like Brea Fire or San Bernardino Fire, or is it just LA County Fire?
In this operation, it's going to be exclusively LA County Fire. We have spoken to all of the adjacent fire agencies, including Brea and Chino Valley, as well as OCFA, who protects Yorba Linda. And we've briefed them, we've invited them, and to come and observe or participate if they needed to for a training opportunity. But at this point, because of the activity level and the training schedules, and because of the variables involved with the planning and the weather window, they have declined to come to this event. They may send one or two resources, and actually, let me make a correction. OCFA is sending a hand crew to assist us.
Those are the rookies, right?
No, those are the hardest working guys on the fire line.
So next, Mr. Fox, and I think David Liu would be able to answer the question also. Driving in here tonight, there are, I wish I could tell you what they're called, where they're on two wheels and it says, one lane closed ahead. Why don't we
message
put,
boards?
pardon me?
Message boards?
It's a great thing to call them. Why don't we put those up in those neighborhoods? Especially, I mean, they're cul-de-sacs, right?
Yes.
So they don't have to be at the end of the cul-de-sac, they just need to be as people head in, and then they would know that when they went by it, they would know what was going on. Right. Can we do something like that?
We'll take a look at it,
Great,
certainly.
thank you.
My question is, there's going to be a lot of smoke. How are you going to control the smoke for the sake of environmental control?
So the smoke is a byproduct of the fire, obviously, and the wind is going to direct the smoke, and we don't have the ability to control the wind. So we measure in partnership with the AQMD. There's very strict guidelines, and one of those, we will find out on Thursday morning if there's a restriction on burning, then it has to be, instead of an 18-acre project that day, it has to be only a 10-acre training event. So the smoke we're anticipating, because of the natural pattern that occurs in that area and the regularity of and the stability of the current weather pattern. I know we had rain today, but and some thunderstorms, but it is anticipated that it will be a stable environment for us to burn, where the majority of the smoke will go straight up in the air, and it won't be, and we're not going to be burning at the volume where it would be causing a serious hazard.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you.
City Manager Fox, I believe those area involved is in the country estate. I think that they have HOA that can easily spread this news to the resident there. So please work with the HOA to notify the resident there that such an event.
Mr. Mayor, our office did notify the HOA this morning.
Oh, great,
So
thank you.
They are
Yeah.
aware.
Thank you very much.
I try to help Mr. Fox out.
Thank you. So we have a public comment session next. Public comments is the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the council on consent calendars items or other matters of interest not on the agenda that are within the subject matters jurisdictions of the council. Although the city council values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, members of the city council or staff may briefly respond to public comments if necessary, but no extended discussion and no action on such matters may take place. There's a 5 minutes maximum time limit when addressing the city council. At this time, I will call up speakers who have submitted a speaker card first. Then City Clerk Santana will ask for those callers joining the teleconference who may wish to speak under public comment. Now, I have received speaker cards from Evelyn Bush. Evelyn, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and everybody. Good evening. My name is Evelyn Bush from Buddha's Light International Association of Shilai Temple. Today, what I have here is an event that we're gonna. Oh, there we go. The event that we're gonna have in this coming week, Saturday. This is for a good cause. The whole thing, the theme of this is "You Run and We Plant." So we're trying to collect all the mileage of 20 kilometers. For every 20 kilometers, we'll plant a tree. And I know it's just one day. This event actually will last all the way till September 30th. So for those who are interested, and aside from just the Saturday itself, you can sign up and let us know that you would like to continue and accumulate your knowledge, and let us know we accumulate that. And then the trees that you earn, the number of trees that you earn can go to your selected cities or any places that you can pick. I mean, it can be in Diamond Bar or in any neighboring park or anything like that. So even though we run in Hacienda Heights, but this event is open to all the neighboring cities, communities. What I have here is Jing Jing. She is the coordinator of this event, and the event will take place at Walnut High School Stadium, 400 Pier Road in Walnut, and event time is from 9 to 11:30.
You can give the flyer so that we can put on the screen.
And all participants will get a T-shirt on that day off. You will get a T-shirt like this and a tote bag as a token of appreciation.
So here's the T-shirt. It's pretty nice, right? And then besides that, we have a tote bag, veteran tote bag. It's we will give away to every participant. Yeah, I hope you will like it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. If anybody have any questions, please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
The 20K has to be earned by a single person, or
No, it can be all collective.
Can be group effort, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
All collective. I think what we will do is all the Diamond Bar residents, as they come, we will maybe have them wear a separate color, ribbon, band, whatever like that, and then we'll collect them all, calculate them all together, and that goes to Diamond Bar City. And then Walnut City will have their own, and Hacienda Heights will have their own and all that. But they can donate the trees to their preferred location in the city.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to
you.
speak.
Thank you. Oh, is it okay? I just say one more. Is it
Have 1 minute.
Okay.
1
Okay.
minute and 30 seconds.
Thank you, thank you. Sorry for the late. I just complete my jury duty this late afternoon in Santa Ana. So I traveled all the way from Orange County to here for this opportunity. Thanks again. So for June 7th, please come at 8:30. You can register. You can sign up by scanning the QR code, or if you just decide to come here on Saturday morning, welcome. You can sign up on site. So except we have T-shirts and bag, and we also have some goodies and family-friendly games, the hula hoop. So I just want to say every step counts, and this event we can our community will get closer, and it's also friendly for all family members. So welcome. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
It's good for the environment, right?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker come from MSB Making Spirit Bright, Sonia Reed and Teresa Lee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of the City Council. By now, I think you know me. My name is Sonia Reed, Ambassador for Armed Services, 29 Palms Marine Base, and the Chair of Making Spirits Bright. This evening, I would like to thank our members of the City Council, members of our wonderful community for their generous support in our program, providing service for our active duty military families at both bases. And I'm asking Teresa Lee to provide you with a 2024 update for our accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, council members and Mayor Pro Tem and Mr. Mayor. Anyways, I would like to bring us the update of 2024. Actually, we should have a comparison. 2023, we actually serve 150 families at the 29 Palms and the Camp Pendleton. Last year was spectacular. We were able to break our own record, and we were able to serve 180 families plus 5,000 in gift card to our Camp Pendleton Marines, Navies, or officers. Marines. So anyways, this year we wanted to reach a goal because, again, we have so many families there that are in desperate need, and we wanted to be able to offer them more because last year we had to turn away about 800 families. So we really wanted to make it bigger, make it better, and accept more families. And so that this is our first fundraising event coming Saturday on June 14th, actually 2 weeks from now. And it will be coming from 9 to 11 a.m. It's selling orchids. So by paying $25 per orchid, you bring home a beautiful bouquet. And at the same time, that serves to raise funds for our military families at 29 Palms and also Camp Pendleton. And this sale is going to be happening over at the Chili's. Everybody knows our neighborhood chili, Diamond Barber. It will be the off of Grand and Golden Spring, 9 to 11. Please come join us. You could purchase there, or you could do pre-order. So whichever that you want to do. We have apps as well. If okay, maybe later we could send the city the app, and so perhaps that the city can help us to post it somewhere. But anyways, we would love to have the joint effort from the whole entire city to support our military family. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. And also, I almost forgot. This is my guilty. Besides serving the military families, we actually were able to join the effort with the Shilai Temple. They actually help us raise a lot of food and also toys. Before Christmas time, we went to their warehouse and we hauled pallets and pallets of rice and also pallets and pallets of toys. So together it made about almost like a trailer load of goodies that went to the base of 29 Palms and really made such a huge impact to our troops. Sometimes they don't have the food resources of which that help with their pantry, to fill up their pantry, and at the same time, the toys, it's just an added bonus to them. So really very kind of them. And of course, this year, we'll be working with the Shilai Temple and many other organizations as well to do additional fundraise and also food drives.
I just also would like to mention, last year, 2024, with Mr. Lee Mao, we delivered over 2,300 toys from donation from our community to the 29 Palms Marine Base. Again, anyone that has donated the toys and was present, our sincere thank you, because it was beautiful seeing military children come and they would receive between 5 and 6 get anything. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I also have some flyers. Is it okay to pass them out?
Yes, you can. Well, you can leave it on the table, on the outside. Yes.
Okay, will do. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. My next speaker card comes from John Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, city staff. My name is John Martin. I've been a Diamond Bar resident for 52 years, and I've loved living here. We were asked by the city and the fire department, and I'm very glad Assistant Chief Gamble is here tonight. But we've been asked, and we've complied pretty much to clear all brush by May 31st. The purpose, of course, is to eliminate fire hazards. Many of us are having homeowner insurance issues. Many have been canceled. Our rates have gone up. A new wildfire this year in our city would be expensive for all of us, and our insurance would go up considerably. So what I did is I decided to walk on Diamond Bar Boulevard and see what is available, because I noticed a lot of brush on the eastern side, so going north on the right-hand side. And so I started to walk and I took some pictures. Here is the first one. And what it shows is one homeowner in the country, but look at the size of the property, but he's done nothing. And we were supposed to be done by March the 31st. So as we continued walking, I kept seeing brush, dead trees, problems that should have been rectified at this particular time. Continuing the walk, I found out and realized that this was that entire section, and there's probably 3, 4, 5 homeowners that have done nothing this year. And all it would take is an arsonist or a cigarette or a car crashing into the wall to start a fire. And if that fire hits that brush, it's going to go right up a hill. It's going to wipe out homes. Our insurance companies are going to love it because they can now come after us. So I'm asking for your help on this, but these are just homeowners. So the next step, the next step was I kept on going and I continued north. Emerald Point looked very, very good. Crossing Sugar Pine, I went by the country estates. Next group. Thank you. And the country starting at Sugar Pine, and these pictures are tough, and I'll leave them with the actual clerk, but they're very, very tough. But it shows literally brush at the side of the street all along the actual street. Then coming down across to Diamond Bar Boulevard, the same thing. Then walking north, brush, continued brush, brush and trees and things that have been fallen down for gosh knows how long. And this is right on the sidewalk. I'm standing on the public sidewalk taking these pictures. And here's one more picture. It's very disappointing, I think, that nothing has been done by the country. There's dead vegetation, dead trees, and a real fire hazard. If that fire jumps that 6-foot wall in the back, it's going to nail their homes, and we're just asking for trouble. This was an area of about 1,000 feet along Diamond Bar Boulevard that is just exposed, ready to somebody to set a fire or an accident. Here I'm asking that the City Council set up a landscape maintenance district. The country estates has shown that they have no interest in making this area the best entrance to Diamond Bar. They right now, and you can check all of this, go down there, it's the worst. They have a
Thank you for your comments. We'll work on that. No, your time is up. Sorry, yeah. Next speaker come from Robin Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you for hearing my words. My name is Robin Smith. I'm an ecologist and an urban conservation strategist. I've been working in the field of fire-safe landscapes for 5 years now. My colleagues and I have been following the inevitable fuel modification practices for the state of California. This last couple of weeks, I attended all the Board of Forestry meetings that are regarding the Zone 0 policy that's being rolled out now. And before I came this evening, I sent a letter of concern to the City of Industry about the controlled burn that's been scheduled, okay? So I first want to say thank you to Chief Gamble. I have full confidence in his crew in handling such an operation. I'm not one of those residents that is worried about them functioning, doing this activity. I'm here tonight to finally make a formal statement to the City Council that we have got to consider a different way of land management. My policy personally is first, do no harm. I'm very experienced in habitat restoration, and I've done a successful native garden that is completely compliant and considered fire ready. Everything burns, so we cannot say we are safe if we implement Zone 0. That's erroneous, and that's what's being considered by UCLA, Institute of the Environment and Sustainability right now. They recently pulled their endorsement of the Zone 0 policy. Long story going on there, I'm not going to get into it. Tonight, what's pertinent is this particular operation about the prescribed burn is a problem because, for many reasons, and I'll try to be brief. First of all, the concepts of the prescribed burn are flawed. They are not adherent consistently to indigenous practices. There's a lot going on there, and there needs to be careful ecological science that evaluates all the tenets, and that's why I can speak about this to you tonight. There was a ruling on a lawsuit that has been going on for a while with the California Chaparral Institute in San Diego. And on May 30th, the California Appellate Court ruled in favor of the California Chaparral Institute regarding CAL FIRE's flawed plan to clear millions of acres of native habitat in California. Therefore, the fire agency projects involving chaparral and sage scrub are currently within the purview of the appellate court decision, with an upcoming Superior Court determination as to which ones need to be suspended. And there is a link for the legal papers if you want to read that. What I'm personally concerned about is the historic annual practices of fuel modification in our city, in the wildland. And I brought a couple of pictures to make my point. How do I show you these pictures? Okay. This is the corner of Gold Rush and Diamond Bar Boulevard. And by the way, when I drove over here tonight, this is newly disked. But I want to, okay, there we go, right.
Can you place the photos under the?
Oh, I was going to point at them. Anyway,
Oh.
no, let me point at them. Okay, you
Right,
guys are
okay.
going to get copies of this.
Okay.
I had to just throw everything in the car and come. All right, so here's what's crazy. This is what really gets me. This is a native habitat up here, the top of the hill. Do you see any weeds in the native habitat? I don't. There's no additional flashy fuels in the chaparral there. The weeds are down here where this area has been disked every year for I don't know what reason. You know, it's a question to me because we in ecology and do habitat restoration, we know that disking causes weed growth. It actually increases flashy fuels, okay? And signs up whoever's doing the job to an endless hamster wheel of maintenance that never is resolved, okay? And so below here, by the way, whoops, this is acacia redolens that the city installed, which is really flammable.
Okay, thank you. You can come back for another session. Okay, thank you. That's all the speaker card. Captain Towsey, you want to make a comment?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. Just real quick, at our station, starting the beginning of this year, I created or basically implemented a new program where when we get trainees to our station, normally they go through 6 months of training, and that training really consists of learning the laws, making traffic stops, writing reports. But this year, I started a community relations aspect of it, where they get assigned to, luckily I have a training officer who does community relations for Rowland Heights. So they get assigned to my training officer, and he takes them around and works on the community relations. He'll take them to the Coffee with the Cops. He'll take them to the community meetings, the neighborhood watch meetings, takes them to the city council meetings, and just kind of gives them a quick little insight into the other part of law enforcement, which is the community relations. He's actually here. My training officer's there as well, but he's currently on training, but it's Deputy Ramos, and I'd just like to give him a minute to introduce himself to you and just kind of let you know about the program that we started here at Walnut. There's 24 patrol stations, and I believe I'm the only one that's added this community relations aspect. So with that, here's Deputy Ramos.
Thank you, Captain. Good evening, City Council, residents of Diamond Bar. As Captain Chelsea said, my name is Deputy Joshua Ramos. I've been with the Walnut Diamond Bar Sheriff's Station about 3 months now. I have just completed 8 years of my career as a deputy sheriff. And in all my years of being on the department, I have never heard of a program like this. So when I was introduced to this, or I was told that I was going to head over to my current TO, who is in charge of the community relations portion of our station, I was very excited. I am 37 years old, and I've seen quite a change in policing over the years and how the residents and how the community responds to us. So I also am in agreement with Captain Chelsea, and I think this program is fantastic because, you know, when people call the police, it's not always the best time of their life. You know, most of the time when they have to call the police, it's because it's one of the worst days that they've probably ever experienced. Well, we also want to change that. So I wanted to come here and introduce myself. This is my first city council meeting. Hopefully it'll be the first of many to come. But I do want to introduce myself, because when I am out in the city, I want to make sure that, you know, the residents of the city, as well as yourselves, if they see us, we want you to understand that we are very approachable. Even if there's nothing to report, even if there's nothing to, you know, be concerned about, we are human beings like everybody else. We want to have those conversations, and we want our cities that we serve to know us, even on a first name basis. That helps calm, and that gives a bright side and a highlight to most people of the day to understand, especially those who have children, to raise them to understand that the police are here to help. And that's all we want you guys to understand. We want everyone to understand. And I am excited to be a part of this program. And if there is any time that you see me out in the city, please feel free to come and contact me, even if it's just for a question. If I don't have the answer, I promise you we will help you find the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from, no?
I have a question.
Councilmember
Deputy Ramos, just real quick, sorry about that. So are you going to be around the city? Are you in a patrol car? Are you on motorcycle? Or are you on foot?
So currently, right now, I am assigned to our newly founded community relations program. So I am over with my training officer, Deputy Denver, and we have pretty much our schedule where we attend, you know, community relations meetings. We're out with the public doing city council meetings such as this. There will be times that we are, yes, in a marked patrol police car. There will be times where we are in an unmarked police car. So depending on our business for the day, that's going to determine the uniform that we're wearing, the car that we're in. So it's really going to depend on what we have going on for the day. But yes, we do still very much patrol the city. I know my TO definitely does overtime over there in our cities, and he's in a marked patrol car, still doing the same job that he signed up to do 30 years ago. Very passionate about it, and I am very excited to learn from him.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Any other question? Thank you. Is anyone else in the audience want to speak to the council? Is anybody on the line?
No, Mayor, there's no one on the line, and no emails were submitted for public comment tonight either.
Okay, seeing now, I'm going to close the public. Okay, I'm going to close the public comment session. Next session is a schedule of future events and consent calendars. City Manager Fox, can you please announce the schedule of the upcoming events and then proceed with the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Coffee with the Cop will be held on Saturday morning, June 7th, from 8 to 10 a.m. at Margin Cafe in the Albertson Center at the corner of Grand and Diamond Bar Boulevard. The Planning Commission meeting for June 10th has been canceled, and our summer concerts and Movies Under the Stars series will kick off on Wednesday, June 11th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at Summit Ridge Park, and run each Wednesday through July 30th. Our first band will be Radio Royalty, featuring 80s hits, and the movie will be Extremely Goofy Movie. Hopefully, everybody can get out there and start off the season. And our next City Council meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 17th, starting at 6:30 p.m. here in the AQMD Auditorium. On the consent calendar this evening, you have approval of the May 20th study session and regular meeting minutes, approval of the check register dated May 14th through May 27th, and adoption of Resolution 2025-15, authorizing continued participation in the Intergovernmental Purchasing Alliance for the purchase of janitorial supplies for fiscal year 25-26. That concludes the consent calendar this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Would anyone like to pull any items for discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar, Mayor.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and we have a second. City Clerk Santana, please call for the vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Tang?
Yes, motion carries. Next session is the public hearings, and there are no public hearing items on tonight's agenda. Moving on, the next session is council consideration. City Manager Fox, please provide the report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Our Finance Director, Jason Jacobson, will be making the staff presentation this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. It is my pleasure to present to you tonight the fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget. We're here tonight. It's a capstone of a 5-month-long process to bring the City Council a budget that aligns with its key priorities and goals of the recently adopted 3-year strategic plan, being responsible stewardship of public resources, open and engaged and responsive government, and safe, sustainable, and healthy community. I'd like to point out that on page 94 of the packet, we do have our updated work plans for each department that it connects the budget with the strategic plan. As you know, we've had the first study session to review the CIP that was completed on the 6th of May. 2 weeks ago, we had the draft operating budget in-depth review with the City Council, and tonight we're here to adopt the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget. I do need to point out some changes since the last time we met. Following council discussion regarding the proposed CIP and to design landscaping improvements within the lighting and landscape assessment districts 39-2022 and 41-2021, the scope of the project was revised to be from an initial design to include a construction phase, and we've renamed that capital improvement program project accordingly to reflect that change. Additionally, since the May 20th study session, we've had some additional changes to the operating budget. We are recommending an additional $47,000 added to the revenues for the road maintenance and rehab account, which is Fund 202. An additional $30,000 in revenues be added to the gas tax fund 205, and those are to reflect the updated estimates released from the state. In addition to that, we have the final allocation in CDBG programming funds, and we're proposing to add $3,000 to both revenues and expenses. Lastly, we have a change in the internal service funds to add $45,000 to professional services to support additional reporting and programming development for the new enterprise land management system that is set to go live in November. With that, I'll just kind of review the budget as we discussed a couple weeks ago, but just wanted to set the table with how we came to the budget that's before you tonight. We do have an economic outlook that is somewhat, I think, of a downturn compared to where we were last year at this time. We are anticipating a slowdown compared to the prior year. The operating budget reflects a more challenging fiscal environment characterized by structural deficit and weakening economic outlook. While the budget itself maintains for funding for essential city programs and services, it includes limited investments in maintenance and capital improvements. The city must adopt a measured approach to long-term planning and financial commitments. The management team remains cautious and conservative this budget cycle, recognizing ongoing pressures from escalating contract costs and rising labor, material, and operating expenses, and higher energy and fuel prices, and the overall broader economic uncertainty surrounding this fiscal environment. So it is a challenging time to be constructing a budget for next fiscal year. We are anticipating slow growth nationally, about 1.5% to 2% in GDP. California's employment numbers are expected to only grow 1% next year, and statewide building permits are expected to be stagnant and below 2021 levels. So that brings us to our overall structural deficit concern, wherein essentially we have flattening revenues and rising costs that are unable to be met by revenues due to the limited ability the city has to bring in new revenue sources. So just to define what a structural deficit is, it's when the municipality's ongoing revenues are insufficient to fund its ongoing expenditures under normal economic conditions. Unlike one-time or cyclical shortfalls, a structural deficit requires deliberate policy actions such as revenue enhancements or expenditure reforms to eliminate the underlying gap. And unless you do something to eliminate the structural deficit, you are eventually going to face some sort of struggle to maintain current service levels. In the budget, and discussed at the last study session, I presented a long-term 10-year forecast where we kind of held status quo for the next 10 years and kind of look at what happens, if this pattern continues. And so this is essentially a graph that just illustrates one aspect of that forecast. This is the annual use of fund balance. So this fiscal year, and we'll get into the current proposed fiscal year, but 2 years from now, we would anticipate, because of the structural deficit, to start using fund balance in the general fund to the tune of almost $1 million, $944,000 there on the upper left. And every year that compounds until essentially 10 years into this structural deficit, we have about a $5.6 million use of fund balance. And what that means is that the city's continually dipping into our reserves. And our reserves, which we'd anticipate to be about $28 million this time next year, eventually get eroded and depleted by year 10. And we're essentially, in borrowing status, if you say. Now, this again assumes status quo. It assumes that no changes are made, but so it's just more for illustrative purposes, because as you know, responsible stewards of public resources, we will do something one way or the other, but it's more of just a forecast about what could potentially happen without any additional policy changes. And that brings us to this next year's upcoming proposed budget. We do have revenues in the general fund proposed at $32.3 million and expenditures at $32.3 as well, with a marginal surplus of $49,000 projected for the next fiscal year. Now this $49,000, it should be footnoted to say that this includes a removal of an ongoing cost to the general fund, as we discussed at our last meeting, and I'll go into that a little bit further. In addition to that, it includes staff's reduction in their own departmental budgets to the tune of about $350,000 in contracts and slurry seal and additional reduction in proposed vehicle purchases for the year. So more about that one-time elimination of the one-time costs. We are proposing to put off the general fund's portion of the self-insurance premium payment for this fiscal year and allowing the self-insurance fund to use its fund balance, which has been built up over the years. It's about $1 million at this point. We propose to use that fund balance to, in a sense, balance the budget this year for the general fund. That being said, we, at the same time, actually do not believe we need to have such a large fund balance in the self-insurance fund. It was set at $1 million in, I believe, 1990 or in 1989. And in 1990, we joined the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority, which is an actual, a pooled insurance group. And we no longer are self-insured as a result, and would only need about $250,000 for any deductibles or out-of-pocket expenses due to losses. So with tonight's budget, and we'll review at the end here, we do have a proposal to update the fund balance and reserve policy to allow us to lower that minimum fund balance for the self-insurance fund. Included in the $750,000 is a $100,000 obligation as well that the general fund typically provides $100,000 to the building fund. So $650,000 is for the insurance premiums. Another $100,000 is for the building fund, which is the annual transfer out that we require to just build up that fund balance in the building fund. That too will be provided by the self-insurance fund. And that'll essentially bring the self-insurance fund fund balance down to about $250,000. So when you do the math, you look at our proposed surplus for this year, but you back out really the one-time backing out, you add it back in, the ongoing costs that we're going to have to confront at some point, which would be the next fiscal year. We essentially have a recurring structural deficit of a little over $700,000. And just to dive in a little bit, more high level this time around, but we do have, some significant declines in our key revenue sources, mainly building permits down 16%. Investments, we're expecting about a 5% decrease. Sales tax, probably most importantly, most significantly, down almost 3% year over year, and only expected to really grow about 1.5% to 2% over the next few years. Transient occupancy tax, we believe will be relatively stable, but not growing, just stagnant. And we do have a reduction in the transfer in from the gas tax fund year over year. Overall, general fund revenues are down a little bit, 1.2% year over year, $390,000. So what does that look like for our expenses? We do have some significant increases, unfortunately, highlighted in red, namely our law enforcement contract with the Sheriff's Department up almost 5%, our crossing guard services contract up 3.5%, animal control contract up 15% due to 3 of their larger clients withdrawing from the group, and so that that essentially passes along to the remaining cities the revenues that they would have lost as a result. Parks and Recreation is somewhat of a decrease in expenses there, just a small decrease though. City admin and support, overall budget is down 2.8%. Community development city admin up 2.8%. Community development decrease of 3.5%, and public works a decrease of 3.7%. So all in, we're seeing expenditures down 1.8% year over year. I do want to again highlight though that we are bringing the City Council a budget that does continue to provide for the ongoing programs that the community knows and loves. Essentially, all of our Parks and Recreation programs are here, and they're coming back, and they're going to be as amazing as ever. So don't worry there. This budget does provide for some modest adjustments to the Human Capital Improvement Program. As recommended, essentially just maintenance items to keep our city's wages competitive, with a CPI adjustment of 3.1% and our traditional adjustment to offset the rising costs of health benefits, which we call our benefit allotment. In addition to that, we have our performance pay incentive program, which is a rewards program for those employees that go above and beyond. Quickly, we want to just review the other funds, some of the highlights within the budget. It would be the $250,000 transfer out from the technology reserve. This is a transfer out that's going to go to the computer equipment fund, 503, to help fund the costs in that fund. Our OPEB fund, we have our annual $88,000 contribution to keep our liabilities essentially covered at about 75–80% of the liability there. Our new homelessness response fund has again another $50,000 to assist with homelessness response around the city. We have our Integrated Waste Management Fund, has $21,000 for expanded student waste reduction field trips. And our beverage container recycling program has some funds set aside for bottle refill stations at the Diamond Bar Center. Jumping into our lighting and landscape districts, we have some capital improvements programmed for these funds. As you can see in the sort of the middle column there, 39-2022 is using fund balance, as is 41-2021, to the total amount of about 600,000 or so to fund the CIP proposed for those districts. Overall, this is, the general fund contribution is about $275,000, which is quite a significant drop from approximately $600,000 contribution before the restructuring of these districts in about 2019 or so, which is what it was at its peak. Our debt service fund is still going strong. We have these debt service bonds for the Diamond Bar Center going until 2033. Annual debt service principal and interest is estimated, or it is $723,000 for the year, and the city continues to hold a AA+ rating. In our internal service funds, this is the self-insurance fund as previously mentioned. Just kind of jumping into the details here for this fund. We do have $651,000 proposed for the premiums for general liability, property, and crime pollution. Now this fund you will see in the fund balance schedule that I have attached in the budget book. The use of fund balance here will be a $750,000 use for the stabilization of the general fund. And this is the fund essentially that is mentioned in the resolution to adjust the fund balance policy for this fund. The vehicle maintenance and replacement fund annually houses the cost for our fuel and maintenance costs of our fleet. In addition to that, we are proposing one non-EV vehicle, a public works truck, to be purchased this next fiscal year. And the last of our second to last of our internal service funds is our computer equipment maintenance and replacement fund. We have $332,000 budgeted here. I'm sorry, my slides are a little delayed. There we go. For necessary hardware and upgrades to replace 7 servers, some new tablets for the front counter for the new enterprise land management system. In addition to that, we have an integration with the enterprise land management system and Laserfiche. Additional reporting for the new system, as previously mentioned, for $45,000. We have 3 laser printers programmed for next year and new touch screens for employee timekeeping. The last of our internal service funds, building facility and maintenance fund, has $89,000 proposed for elevator control upgrades at City Hall and cubicle modifications and office furniture as well. This brings us to our CIP program. This is probably the 3rd time you've seen this slide. I apologize. But it is a $5.2 million program with $600,000 programmed for parks and facilities, mainly the landscape districts, 4.5 for streets, and small budget, $64,000 for the annual traffic safety program, battery backup replacement. Overall, city revenues are proposed at $46.7 million and expenditures at $48.1 million. With mainly the use of fund balance there in the right column and the special revenue funds being utilized for CIPs. And in the internal service funds, that $751,000 on the kind of the bottom right, 3rd from the bottom, that's for the self-insurance funds use of fund balance there. We do have the special funds going back up to the top, the 2nd row, a use of fund balance there of $204,000. That's the transfer out of the tech reserve fund to the computer equipment maintenance and replacement fund. I should have mentioned that the technology reserve fund is funded by a permit fee, surcharge attached to all the permits to sort of build up a little bit of a reserve to replace technology. We do have some additional items, as always, with our adopted budget. We have the fiscal year 25-26 compensation and benefits plan, as previously mentioned. As always, we have our GAN appropriations limit, and I do want to explain it a little bit because it does get confusing. This year, the appropriations limit is calculated to be 65.4 million. Last year, it was 4 million less. And we are, through calculations of our revenues, essentially, we found that we're only spending 24 million against this limit. And the way we calculate that 24 million, it's not our budget, it's actually the amount that we receive in specific tax revenues. So property tax, sales tax, those sort of things. You count that as your appropriations against the GAN limit because it's a measure in place to really prevent you from overtaxing your constituents. So as you can see, we're quite a bit underneath the limit, the legal limit there. We again have the 25-26 fund balance and reserve policy update just to allow for the new funding level in the self-insurance fund. And lastly, the investment policy, which has no changes. That brings us to the staff recommendation, which is to adopt resolution 2025-16 for the city operating and capital improvement program, adopt resolution 2025-17, establishing the GAN appropriations limit, adopt resolution 2025-18, establishing the salary ranges for the next fiscal year, adopt resolution 25-19 for the investment policy, and adopt resolution 2025-20, approving the updated fund balance and reserve policy. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you for the report. Are there any public comments on this item? Anybody on the phone?
Mayor, there's no one at the line at this time, and there were no emails submitted for this item.
Are there any council members' comments or discussion? We'll start with Council Member Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. As our staff have mentioned, this is a 5 months process, and finally we're here. Every year, this is probably the most exciting time of the year, at least for me, because we'll get to decide kind of what our priorities are for the following year. I know obviously the elephant in the room that we're looking at a structural deficit in the face. But what we're not going to do as a council, as a city, is to bury our heads in the sand. So I think we need to kind of look at this head on, take this challenge head on, and start really coming up with creative ways to kind of manage our budget on an ongoing basis so that we can gradually decrease the structural deficit. And what we're going to do is work together as a community. There are things that we need to do to tighten our belt from our side. We certainly will do what we need to do to make sure that we continue to deliver critical services that our residents not only deserve, but really demand from a top-notch city like Diamond Bar. So I want to thank our staff again for the long process. I think this is a budget that we can all be very proud of. There's a lot of things in there. Obviously, we spent 5 months going through this thing. So thanks staff, thank my colleagues for working on this. This is my 8th budget cycle. Just gets more fun every year. So thank you, staff. I really think this is a budget that we can all be very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Low.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the staff for just your hard work, and I just echo Councilmember Chow's comments in total because we did work really hard, and it is very concerning about our structural deficit, and this budget does seem to address that, and we are. I didn't really want to face the fact that we're actually in a structural deficit this current fiscal year, 25-26, but in fact, Mr. Jacobson, you did point that out that we are. But we have some extra money that we can cover that. So I think it's more important now than ever that we put our heads together and do what we can to create a plan so that we eliminate the structural deficit. Can you clarify for me if we go back to the slide about the reserve funds that we currently have? I get asked a lot of questions about, well, how much do we have in reserve? And that's kind of a wrong question to ask because we have a lot of funds in reserve, but they're already reserved and not available for unreserved funds is kind of how I look at it. So if we were to do nothing for our structural deficit, I think you mentioned earlier that in year 10, all things being equal, the reserve funds would be completely depleted. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, let me jump to that slide and excuse me. That slide was the general fund reserve, and essentially the general fund is funds that are available for the city council to program as they please. The amount that I show includes the unassigned fund balance. I'm flipping backwards here. Okay, here we go. The amount here, again, this is after after we have this current fiscal year as it ends and we adopt the 26-27 fiscal year. We would assume that we would end that year with a $28 million fund balance. And what that includes is the 25% emergency contingency within that $28 million. And it also includes the unassigned fund balance. I don't have that 25% calculated here or split out because essentially it's more illustrative than anything. But yes, this is the remaining reserves that the city has not assigned. There are some other reserves, and I could direct your attention to the packet. If we scroll down to the schedules, sorry, as I flip through here. I'll tell you it's around packet page. Around there. It is page 112 of your packet. And this schedule is the annual resources and uses schedule. I can't bring it up on the screen, but we list here every single fund that we manage and program. We have, starting at the top, Fund 100, and then that's on page 112 of your packet. On page 113, we end with Fund 601. So the funds that council has committed to specific reserves include Fund 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 there, below 100. Those are also reported within the general fund, but those are essentially committed reserves for the uses. Beyond that, everything else is restricted. All right, so everything below that is either a special fund, a special revenue fund with various legal requirements because those revenues come in from certain sources. They're legally restricted. All the way down to our self-insurance fund 501, 2, 3, and 4. Those are also additionally committed reserves. In this case, we are using Fund 501, which does have a fund balance that through analysis and consideration we no longer need and could be put to better use. So if the council looks at row, it doesn't have a row number, but if you look at 501 there, follow it across, we are proposing to end next year with essentially a $289,000 fund balance in that fund. But really beyond the general fund, there's very little wiggle room, and fund balances, with the exception of the building fund, which has a $2.2 million reserve there, which we've been building up patiently over the years, are very minimal and could creatively be used for other options. But again, there's no solution without a cost, right?
What if there were costs related to litigation and some other expenses that might
General fund.
They would come out from the general fund.
Yes,
So it would come out from that 26 million that you showed, and that would take a chunk out of that.
Yes.
And that's where it would come. Okay, great. Well, that's my question. And again, thank you for the hard work. And it's really time to really put our heads together and come up with something so that we maintain the fine quality of service and stability that we are known for. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Love. Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Thank you, Mayor. Where are we at with, I think it was going to be a Hampton Inn, XYZ hotel at Brea Canyon and 60 Freeway?
Greg, Mr. Gubman, do you have any updates?
The applicant has informed staff that they intend to submit for plan check. They wish to resubmit the plans. They've at the corporate level. There have been some changes to the floor plan programming. So the project, as far as we know, is still in the works. We're just kind of running out of patience, but hope to see the permits submitted in the next year.
And what, Jason, would that do, or Dan, to our TOT? A wild guess.
I believe, if I recall correctly, we anticipated maybe an additional $400,000 that facility and that property would generate.
Okay, thank you. So, you know, it's sobering. I think we talked about that before, to get to this to get to this time, and always reminds me of the Book of Esther, where Ruth said, you know, you're here. What am I doing here? And the answer was, well, you're here for such time as this. And what you have said, Councilwoman Lowe, what you have said, Councilman Chow and Mayor, is we're not running around with our hair on fire. First of all, staff has done a spectacular job. And that it takes that long and that many meetings is just an indication of we've looked everywhere. Yeah. And we will continue to do that, and we'll continue to provide the Diamond Bar residents with what Diamond Bar residents expect in our city, but not to the where we would create problems for ourselves. So I think that we everybody knows that was in that meeting. Well, we're not going to do that this time. We're not going to do that this time. And remember, it was, I think, all of my colleagues, when I said, what if we don't do the EV, what we're going to do that in the back of City Hall, the charging stations. What if we don't do that because Sacramento said we have to? What if we don't do an EV truck because Sacramento said we have to? What if we don't do it? And remember, four colleagues look and go, come on, you can't say no. Well, guess what? Somebody said no, and that's not going to happen. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but we're not going to spend that money today on things that I think were silly for what our needs are and for how it would satisfy the needs in Diamond Bar. So again, I think just a terrific look at where we're at, and let's figure out how we're going to get to where we want to go. So thank you all very much. I appreciate your work.
Thank you. I just continued of what you just said. Just up between now and next year's budget. Okay, for these challenges, do we have another plan to get together to do a study session to see what can we do to improve our revenue and find some more reduction of our spending in order to improve our structural deficit? Because, you know, time flies. After we approve this budget now, and lo and behold, and it will be next year's budget session. Time really flies. In between, are we going to do anything? That's my question.
Yes, Mayor. Certainly, we're going to immediately start working on those strategies and those options for future discussions with the council. And there may be one, there may be multiple options. I don't think there's going to be one silver bullet that we're going to be able to find, but we're certainly going to be working on a variety of options for your consideration. And we will be working on that starting very soon.
Thank you for your response.
And I would add that this isn't unique to Diamond Bar. You know, we're truly a residential community, and we've been fortunate to get the retailers that we have that are providing what they do. But there are some that I was with last week at a meeting, and they're talking about, you know, they had to have a Saturday meeting about their budget because there was a lot of problems. And I said, well, what are you doing differently? How did we get here, and how did you get here? And she goes, well, you know, we have 2 Costcos, we have Home Depot, we have Lowe's, we have no big box, and There was a time where that's all we wanted. And if it was today, I don't think that would have survived, it would necessarily served the purpose. We had a car dealer at one time, and it just killed us to lose that car dealer. But when the cities with car dealers lost some of the things through Sacramento, it's like they were whining more than we were because we didn't take that hit. Well, now we're in that place where we need to figure out what to do and get it done as promptly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Anyone like to make a motion?
One motion or separate? Okay. Then
You can do one.
Okay, thank you. I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 2025-16, 2025-17, 2025-18, 2025-19, and 2025-20.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. City Clerk Santana, please call for the vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Tang?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next session is a council subcommittee reports and meeting attendance reports and council members' comments. I'm going to start with Councilmember Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, first I want to congratulate the graduating class of 2025 from both Diamond Bar High School and Diamond Ranch High School. You know, they're on to bigger, better things, and we can't wait to see what all the difference they'll make in the world. And I also took an advocacy trip to Sacramento on May 28th with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, specifically the San Gabriel Valley Regional Housing Trust. We met with over 12 legislators and their staff to advocate for both the COG and the Regional Housing Trust. The conversation really centered around budget and hopefully having an ongoing funding source for all the innovative financing that the Housing Trust does. Just to give you a quick rundown. So the Housing Trust has only been in existence for 5 years, but in the past 5 years, we've secured over $36 million funding from Sacramento and helped finance 875 units of permanent housing, 130 units of interim housing, and currently have about 450 units in the pipeline. That's a function of if we get the funding from Sacramento. So that's why we're up there, spend all day meeting with these people, hopefully, including our own senator and assembly member, hoping that we'll make it into the budget for this year. And before I close, I do want to acknowledge and recognize June as Pride Month. It's a time to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community and honor the ongoing fight for equality, inclusion, and dignity. I want to say that as a city, we'll continue to work together to build a more inclusive future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lowe?
Thank you, Mayor. I too offer my congratulations to the graduates. I noticed that our colleagues, Councilmember Liu is not here, but his daughter is graduating. So congratulations to her and all the families that have family members that are experiencing this happy time. Last week, Councilmember Chow and I attended a scholarship award ceremony for 11 deserving high school seniors. So that was very exciting. And that's made possible by the generosity of our community. Likewise, there are additional scholarships that are being awarded just within the last 30 days and in the upcoming months. So it's really a testament to the generosity and the spirit of this community that our young people are cared for and they are being supported. So it's really great. So I offer a personal thank you to them. Very excited about the concerts in the park starting on the 11th. I hope that we'll all show up. And with that, I will say good night. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I was hoping to be able to ask before Mr. Martin left is, and this could be a question for Assistant Chief Gamble or Dan Fox, because I don't know who would answer my question and see that it gets taken care of. I live on a cul-de-sac of, 16 or 18 homes. Each of us is responsible for our own property. So if we don't clean the property, if we don't do what we're supposed to do that the fire department tells us we should do on an annual basis, we could have trouble, right? One by one. What how does that work for the country estates? Who, if you saw those pictures that Mr. Martin showed us, and everybody that drives from the south end to north end of Diamond Bar has seen those, there doesn't appear to be anything being done. So the question is, are the homeowners thinking the homeowners association is going to take care of it? Or are they just neglecting what they're supposed to do? And that's a rhetorical question, because I don't, it wasn't a budget, I mean, it wasn't an agended item, so.
I don't know that we can speculate on that. However, it's our understanding that the LA County Fire Department will be making inspections and re-inspections, and they will get additional notices if they are not in compliance.
So the streets would indicate they're not in compliance. So
That those, I believe the area, if I'm understanding the location, are rear slopes for privately owned property. Whether the association does some maintenance on them, I couldn't say, but.
Okay.
If I may.
Please.
With regards to private property, the homeowners would get a bill. The county, it takes us a little bit of time to collate all the reports, especially the non-compliant reports. And then we will send a crew out, and then they would get a bill from the county for clearing that land. It does take a month or two, a couple months to get that process going. With regards to if it's not a particularly like an individual owned land, it's an association land. I don't know exactly how that goes, but I imagine it's going to be a similar process where the association would get the bill. Happy to look into it. If I can get maybe a couple of specific addresses, I can send that off to our forestry department and they can follow up.
Super, thank you, I appreciate that. Finally, let me just stop or close it out with what we heard from Sonia and from Teresa about Making Spirits Bright. That's a program that's really taken on great excitement over the last few years. We're working to support our troops at 29 Palms Marine Base, and one of the hardest things to hear from these young people, you realize they're talking about kids that are on their way to college. These kids are in the service now by choice, and you hear what they want, right? You hear, what can we get you? What would your children like? What can we get you? You know, we appreciate that. The kids really like toys, but what we really need is diapers. It's like, oh my God, it disgusts me that our military is treated that way. But if you have the opportunity to buy I'm going to tell you right now that the orchids, was it? The orchids are magnificent. They're not that expensive, and they'll grow and excuse me, help you remember how you helped families at 29 Palms. With that, I'll say good night and God bless you.
Thank you. I echo the same thing, because from that presentation, I think everybody will be surprised that our military person need to have our donation of the rice in order to support their family. Isn't that surprising? But that's true, that they do require a lot of donation of the food to their pantry, so that the young soldiers with, say, a family of 4 can get enough nutrition from the pantries. So, so I do want to ask all our residents to be generous to support the 29 Palms military base families. And also, of course, the Sea Light Temple's veg run is a very good cause, because the runs will support the trees and will cut down the carbon emissions, and so it's all good for the family. It's good for the bodies, right, to do some running, and according to what they present, it will be a fun activity for the families together. So please support all these beneficial activities in our city. Of course, the summer is coming. The Concert in the Park is another fun activities in our park. So I think we will be there. I'll be there for the opening of the concert. So wish to see everybody there to enjoy the concert in our beautiful park. And with that, I will say good night. Thank you. Thank you.